DMT, dimethyltryptamine, a psychedelic drug that has been recently popularized and brought into, well, I don't want to say mainstream culture. You won't exactly hear about it on morning, daytime television, but I think the average person has at least heard of DMT. They might not know everything about it, right? They might not have endlessly researched it as I have, but they've heard of it. And this fascinates me. And it's fascinated me ever since I heard about it. It's like one of those things where it's like the way you perceive the world completely changed. Well, the way I perceive the world completely changed when I found out about this. And I remember when I told you about this for the first time ever, which would have been about a year ago, and you were like, tell me more.
Yeah, it was very fascinating.
Well, for those who don't know, for those who do, it's going to be quite boring, but, well, for those who don't know, you should watch my documentary, The Mysteries of DMT, which you will probably be able to find by looking it up on YouTube, but either way, we might link it, yeah. That will pretty much explain everything. But for those who can't be bothered watching something, you want to listen to something, this is basically what it is, right? And it's like, with most psychedelic drugs, it kind of changes your sort of what you see normally, right? So like people who take magic mushrooms tend to say like, yeah, the world does change, but it is them, they are awake, you know, it's like Earth but slightly edited, right? So this is a bad example, but let's say your walls are green, they might be red now, right? But it is still your room, right? Things like LSD and things like that, people will see all sorts of strange patterns and things, but again, they're still grounded to Earth in a way. Like they might be completely off the head, but they're still on Earth. But this is next level. DMT is like I saw a video of a guy who took this, and he wasn't asleep. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to be asleep to sort of experience the effects of it. You can be awake, but you could tell he was not on this planet. He was awake, his eyes were open, he was lying on the floor, and he was like, whoa, like he was completely out there. He was not on our planet then. But a lot of people, they have it when they're sort of like asleep. And what happens is, people say that the experience is so vivid and extreme, it's like they feel like they've ascended to a higher dimension. Like they feel like they're no longer... They're not on Earth anymore. Many people say they're not human anymore. And when people go there, some of the common themes are, they feel like everything makes sense. They feel like life is a game. Like the life that we know on this Earth, humanity, is a game. Like it's not real. And everything makes sense when they ascend, but when they come back down, they can't comprehend what they've just seen. They can't put it into words. The things they've been shown, there's no words in the English language to describe what they've seen. They can't describe it, right? It's like they temporarily intellectually ascend to know something that we don't know, and then when they come back down, it's like in their actual human physical body, they can't process it anymore. And a lot of the things is that most people I think who take drugs would be atheists, right? Because I think that many religious people will shy away from drugs because they view it kind of like witchcraft or something like that, or just unholy, like something that's not meant to be taken. But a lot of people who take this, they go in there atheist and they leave like the most religious people on the planet. Many people say that they've met religious entities or entities that are superior to us or that guide us, and they from that point on know that there's more to this world than what meets the eye, because they've seen it themselves, right? This has fascinated me ever since I heard about it, because the way I see it is, you know, it's weird. We live in like this really binary sort of world, whereby you're either an atheist and you believe that we're just a lump of rock in this big fat vacuum, and we're just like bacteria on this rock and we're totally irrelevant. Or you're a full-on religious person and you believe there's a God, and it's like, you know, and you believe that humanity is like of utmost importance, and when you die you go to hell or whatever, right? And it's like, well, actually, why don't we? The way I saw it was, you can actually take something from this and see it in a different way. Like, why not see it as, what if there's many, like a tower of dimensions, right? Like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and there's different floors, and every floor is like a dimension, and we are on one of those floors, and there's dimensions under us, and there's dimensions like above us. And I think when you take DMT, you get a glimpse of the above dimensions. Like, your mind sees things, like the filter is lifted, you can see things that weren't otherwise there. Kind of like when you use a magnifying glass and you see bacteria or whatever, you see like a lower dimension, like there's life, bacteria. There's like on my skin right now, there's like loads of, well, I hope not, but there's probably is a lot of bacteria or something, right? And I can't see them. Like, I can just go like, with my hand, I've probably killed like a million bacteria or something. They're there, I can't see them, but they're living there. It's like that first level of that spore game, right? They're like killing each other in the cells. This is like it's in our dimension, right? It's on me, but I can't possibly understand what it's like to be a bacteria, all right? Or what it's like to be a virus, or what it's like to be like a cell. But they're everywhere. It's because I'm in a sort of higher realm of existence. Like, I am a human. I understand animals. I understand my fellow man, but I can't understand cells or bacteria, right? It's a lower dimension in a way. And what if that DMT is kind of like the gateway to see, to sort of ascend humanity and ascend our limited perception, and you just see, you can see what you're not meant to see. It's like a forbidden sort of visage, right? And the what really fascinates me is not so much the realms people go to, though they're well documented. People often report these sort of weird shapes and that we can't possibly understand, but it's the entities you meet. That's what really fascinates me. When people take this drug, they report meeting the same entities. There's a lot of different ones, but there's a lot of similarities as well. Like, we spoke about this before, like the blue lady. People always report seeing a blue lady. People report seeing jesters, clowns, gnomes, yeah, like little golden, like gnomes, clockwork elves they call them. And there's all sorts of entities that people meet, and they show people. Some of them are rude. They might torture the person or be rude to them, but some of them they like to show. They like to show people things, and they like to mentor people and teach people things, and that just makes me think, like, what is that? What's going on? Who are these things? It's, we always go on about alien life, like, is there aliens? And it's like, well, if these entities are real and they're not just like irrelevant, like dreams, like they're just like, well, we don't know what dreams are, come to think of it, but let's say it's not just in the person's head. We've met aliens. Like, what are they? They're clearly not of this earth. I don't see any fucking little golden gnomes walking around. Like, what is this? They're clearly alien at that point. And that it's fascinated me, and it changed the way I see the world, because when people take this, as I said, they come back to earth, and they're learning about fucking, I don't know, Trump said this, or the Democrats said this, or I don't know, there's some I don't know, explosion in some fucking country in the middle of nowhere, right? It's like all of this, all of the most important stories on Earth at this point seem totally irrelevant. It's like caring what the bacteria on my hand is doing. It's like, I don't care as long as it doesn't affect me. And it's like the same thing. It's like if you do that, I imagine it's like it changes everything.
That makes me think about what you told me when I say that I would like to, be able to travel in space, know if there's alien life out there. And you keep saying that, well, you have to sort out what's happening on Earth before you can do that. But if you see it that way, what you just said, then everything that's going on here is just so irrelevant. If you believe that life is just a simulation or a game or something, then it doesn't really matter what's going on here. You want to know what really matters.
Well, I get what you're saying, but think about this. Though it seems irrelevant if you see a higher dimension, and our dimension seems irrelevant, kind of like how the life of a bacteria is irrelevant to us, right? We are human, and we are, whether we like it or not, stuck right now on the human scale of dimension. the only way that we can ever hope to enter a higher dimension is to improve our own and make ourselves better to the point where we can ascend or understand what's going on above. Because remember, even if we somehow figured out the above dimension, there's probably one above them, and one above them, and one above them. And yeah, it might be easy to be nihilistic and be like, well, nothing matters then, right? We're just irrelevant. But no, this is why I say it's a shame that the people who take DMT and see these higher dimensions, if that's what they are, right, we are assuming, are typically people who are very, very out. I think this is fair to say. People who take DMT are probably outcasts of society, very underground people. I don't mean criminal. I mean, they're just not quite antisocial, like the doomer types, right? Like, they're a bit eccentric, but they're a bit weird. And I'm saying it's a shame that there's not people, it's not more mainstream, and that we're not really putting scientific research into finding out what the hell this is. It's like a forbidden topic. People don't want to talk about it.
It's a little bit strange as well, because when we die, don't we, the DMT, we kind of, the body release DMT.
Well, I thought that when you die, DMT is released. And we do have little amounts of DMT in our body, that's a fact. But apparently when you die, it doesn't, I don't know if it gets released when you die. I know we have it in us in a very small amount, but I don't think it gets released when you die. I don't think there's any evidence of that, actually. I used to think that.
Well, I read that, but maybe it's not true.
I don't know. Well, you don't know. Well, this is the thing. There's not not enough research being done about this, because this. I know.
That's weird.
Well, this to me is like it's like. This is not an overstatement. This, when I started researching this and figuring out, this legitimately changed the way that I viewed life and Earth and everything, completely. And I think it's like that for many people. And it's like, why on earth is not
being done?
Well, in the Mysteries of DMT documentary I made, right at the end, this is a bit of a spoiler, but I say that what needs to happen is there needs to be a group of old people, wise people, like shamans, I called them, right? Because that's typically what people who take DMT call themselves for whatever reason. But and these people exist just to take this and document what the hell it goes on, the entities they meet, and ever so close to trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Like, we need to scan these people's brains. What happens to their bodies when they take this? Is it all just in their heads? Is it just a really, really vivid simulation? Or is this something more? Even if it is just a vivid simulation, it's just our brain playing tricks on us, that says a lot about our brain. It could be, as I said, the unconscious mind slipping into the conscious mind. Whatever this is, it will help us out in our quest to figure out who the hell we are, regardless of what it is. So why the fuck are we all just ignoring it and just it's like a joke, right? It's like, oh, DMT, haha, yeah, man, it's funny, right? Like, elves in the sky, whatever. But it's like, no, this isn't funny. This is scary as fuck. It's like, what's going on? I want to know what's going on with this thing, you know?
Well, I was thinking about when you hear about people talking about their DMT experience, many people say that they feel like they get an understanding for basically everything when they're up there, and they get to learn a bunch of new things. But then when they come back to Earth or whatever, they sort of forgot everything. It's just gone.
Well, that's what we said earlier. But is it that they forget, or is it that their mind returns back to normality with all of its limits and constraints, and can find the words to describe it?
That makes me think about dreams, especially like many dreams that I have, because in the dreams, what I'm doing, what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, it all makes sense. It makes perfect sense, and then just when I wake up, it still makes sense when I go through my dream. But then I wait 10 minutes and I get properly woken up. And then my dream, they don't make sense at all. I couldn't even explain them properly.
Yeah, I know. I think everyone's like that. Yeah, and it's like, I always think
What is
when I'm dreaming, why am I not saying this is fucking retarded and makes no sense? Why does my mind go along with this world that just clearly doesn't make sense?
Yes.
Don't understand that.
Yeah, sometimes dreams can be so messed up that there is no words to explain what I experienced in the dream or what I saw. It's just, but everything makes perfect sense when I'm in the dream or just when I wake up, before I'm, halfway between awake and still asleep.
Yeah, I mean, again, my mind feels smoking just trying to conjure up what the hell this is. But the bottom line is, today we're going to focus on the entities, and we actually went to quite a large DMT forum, because we've never done this. Just fascinated by it. r/DMT on Reddit, and we asked, what did I ask?
What entities have you met, and what did they do? Do you want me to read the entire question?
No, but we'll read the names and comments of responses. But yeah, so I wanted to know about. I wanted to go to people who have taken this themselves, because it's one thing to read about it on Wikipedia or whatever and research into it, but I want to hear first-hand accounts of people who have taken this, and I want to know what they've done. Now, obviously, because it's so rare, and because there's so little people who have had this experience, we only got 3 responses or something.
Yeah, 3.
But I would rather have 3 first-hand responses than 30, predictive responses, right? Like just theorizing, which is kind of like what we're doing. So let's see what people said.
Kratom Stew said, raise his hand. Mine is kind of boring, but the God in particular, when I say I am in hyperspace, I have the experience that I am God. But when I say it out loud, ego gets attached to it. Of course I am not the God. Not in the way an ego would interpret it, but let's say God had 7 billion pairs of eyes, bearing those of the world with just one eye, no eyes, or are blind. You know what I'm trying to say. And each person on earth is one individual expression of that God. It all seems to make sense when I am there in hyperspace, but back here on planet Earth, we must all participate in the illusion of being separate from one another. I hear a commanding voice saying, do not hurt me, for when you hurt others, you are only hurting yourself. Why God chooses to create a universe where there is so much suffering and injustice in the world, the ego just cannot understand, because it makes it all personal. But for a few moments while on DMT, it all seems so clear and it all makes sense. It's a challenge to put into practice the lessons that I have received, but they are pretty straightforward. Love others as you would love yourself, or treat others as you would hope to be treated. Above all, do not harm, and remember to breathe.
Right, that I've thought of that before. Whereby I remember, this is going to sound like I'm some sort of fucking lunatic or something, right? But I remember sitting in my room in the dark, just thinking. I think I was listening to music or something, and I was thinking really deeply about why are we here? What is humanity, etc. And I thought, wait a minute, right? What if the root of all life is the same being? And it's as that guy said, every single sort of individual, as we call it, is just a representation of one being that split itself up kinda, but is still kinda the same thing and is going separate ways. That sounds completely crazy when I put it that way, but I understand what he's saying there. This is weird. I understand what he's saying, but I can't put into words what I'm thinking. It's like I understand that. That makes sense to me. It's like what he's saying there is we are not. I'm not me and you're not you. We are the same sort of. We're the same thing, but
the same soul.
Yeah, but we think we've split ourselves up. Every human is the same thing, and we've split ourselves up to think we are individuals. This is the way this is the way I thought of it. I thought of it okay, if the purpose of life is to continue, it doesn't make sense if there was just one entity, because if that one entity died, life's over. So doesn't it make more sense for life to split itself up into different little entities? So if one entity dies, it doesn't matter because there's loads of others left. So what if there's only really like one human, but we're all like chunks of that one human, so that if we die, it doesn't matter because at least all of the others will continue. It's like a survivability thing. It's like, what if that's why we're separate? I don't know.
So it's like a game, and you're the person playing, but you can make tons of different characters. And if one dies, then you can make another one. And you can make 1,000 different ones, and they can all have different abilities and be different, but you're the one controlling them. Sort of.
Yeah, It's kind of like one of those real-time strategy games where you've got like 500 people, but really they're not 500 people. It's you split up into 500 people, and you can say, all right, 10 of you go there, 20 of you go there, the rest stay here, right? And it's like that.
And it feels, and we all have one soul then, because time isn't a constant, so everyone can live, together at the same time. We're all active at once.
I don't know, because that makes you go, what happens to your conscious when you die?
So you are me.
Well, we are everyone.
We just have different flesh suits.
Well, kind of. We're everyone then, aren't we? But that makes me think, is that limited to humans, or is that every animal? Like, are we Archie? Are we our dog as well? I mean, obviously we aren't in terms of the conscious, obviously not. But are we, as in life, the thing that makes us go, hey, I'm here doing this show? Is that the same thing, just in a different shape? You ever heard that theory? Just going to lift this. What is it? Is this stop? Yeah, there we go. Have you ever heard that theory whereby you think, like, in religious texts it says, like, God created the universe and he was the only thing at the start of the universe, right? And it's like, you ever heard that theory where it's like God it's like boring as hell. So he splits himself up and sort of puts himself in these uncomfortable sort of simulations just to entertain themselves. It's kind of like when you play a computer game, isn't that what you do? It's like, I was playing World of Warcraft earlier. Like, it seems crazy that someone would play a game that's pretty much all about killing people when I'm completely safe in reality, but it's like, because I'm bored as hell. There's nothing going on in reality, so I have to immerse myself in that simulation. What if that's like the same thing? I don't know, but I've thought of that before, that sort of hive mind theory, where we're all the same thing, just split up. I mean, if you really think about it, right, we are. Like, we know that's true, because all of us are related in just very, very differently, right? Obviously, like, you're more similar to your brothers and sisters, right? But every single human on this planet has to be related in some way. And every single human has to be related to what came before us. Like, we have to be the same thing, or at least have DNA similar to us. I don't know, I can't describe it. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. It just makes you feel really lonely if you think about it.
Why?
Because you're alone.
What do you mean?
Well...
Oh, you mean if we're all the same thing, yeah. I'm on my own and you're on your own?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if... Yeah, but we are separate, though. No. But we're not, in a way. Like, even if we're from the same source, even if life is all the same, we do think we're individuals.
So maybe that's, when people say that they have a memory of something happened and something feels familiar, but they've never really been there.
Yeah.
Do you think that's when time slips up?
Wait. What if the conscious mind that we control... The conscious mind that we control is what the individual asset, let's say, thinks, so me and you. But the subconscious that is locked off to us is actually like the shared experience of life. And that might be where deja vu says, like it slips through. Or that's what dreams are. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, carry on. Next response. I feel like I'm gonna...
Okay. Toadstool Hopper said, one was a dark-shaped entity sitting in the corner while 4 to 5 small ones were shoving each other around, trying to get in my field of vision, to dangle these beautifully colored things that had geometric shapes dangling from them like jellyfish tentacles, changing colors constantly, like a cuttlefish. They seemed to be very happy to see me, and it made me smile. And they couldn't stop fighting for my attention to show me these things. The large dark entity just sat there, but I could feel it was very happy or content. Very vivid and felt so real, like a dream. I could describe while just closing my eyes. Crazy.
Again, they say that the people who take this, they say their experiences feel more real than reality itself. That makes me think as well, right? It reminds me of like a human family when there's a dog, and we all want to pat the dog and play with the dog. It's like, what if they view us like a dog? And that was like a family of these entities, and the big one was like the big dad entity, and that was like the sons and daughters, and they're already more intelligent than we are, and so they're showing us all these weird like shapes and things and all this magic, I guess that we would call it, because they know it blows our minds. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like the equivalency that I see there. And people always say, again, like just as that one did, people see weird shapes, weird patterns, weird lights and things.
And colors and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like things that aren't related to this existence. I mean, that's what I get from that. It's like the entities in the above dimension are sort of, they're not like a hive mind themselves. They're not all rude and they're not all friendly. It's just like humans. It's like some of us are nice to dogs. Some of us feed dogs too much. Some of us, whereas some people skin dogs alive, right? So it's like, they might be like us in the way that they treat us. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. That was a good experience. But whatever they are, they know more than us. That's for damn sure. So, I don't know.
Next one, or?
Yeah, sure. You look horrified, by the way. Why?
Because if I am everyone, I am one of those people skinning dogs alive.
Yeah, but you're also all the good in the world and all the bad in the world.
Yeah, but the bad is so bad.
Oh, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Go on.
Oh well. Old Grape said, I made a long post describing my first and second experience, but in short, I met what is known as the Mother. I was guided to her in a place unfamiliar to anything I've ever known. I felt so safe, warm, and more than anything, I felt fortunate to be in her presence. I was confident that I had died, and my soul left my body when I was guided to her. My second trip, I met a chimp, which I speculated was my ego. He was wild, jumping and dancing consistently. He made me laugh out loud and helped me realize my body is just a meat vehicle for my soul.
Again, yeah. So the mother thing, I assume, is the blue lady I was talking about earlier. People always talk about this feminine figure where they feel like a mother to them. And again, people like to use the term ego. And I think that's a good term to use there, because I think what they mean by ego is, it's as that guy said right at the end there, we humans, we have these desires, right? We crave things, we have dreams, we want to do things, we hate certain things, we like certain things. All these things, if it are kind of like, what is a bacteria thinking? Who cares, right? It's like irrelevant compared to the grand scheme, this sort of master design that we aren't even tuned into. We're just like part of it, and we don't even realize it, right? And I tell you what annoys me. It's like the people who society at large view as the most intelligent, right? Like all of these scientists and whatnot. They're fucking faffing around about Mars and all this shit. Meanwhile, it takes a bunch of like people who take drugs in an underground culture to talk about the real shit, right? Like, I don't give a fuck about Mars. Fuck Mars. Mars could piss off tomorrow. It's just a rock. And even if there's anything on there, it won't be interesting. People are fucking talking to aliens here. And why is no one talking about this? It pisses me off. It's like, I wish that more people knew about this a lot more. Because I said at the start, a lot of people know about it, right? And people have heard about it, but no one really gives it proper attention. No one really, like, people laugh at it and think it's like a cool joke. But I think it's serious. I want to know what the fuck this is. Where was he there? Who was that person that he met? Like, what? Why are so many people who take this certain that they're not real and that whatever goes on up there is the real shit? Why are so many people certain of that? People from completely different walks of life. They could be atheists, they could be men, women, they could be 20 or 50. They pretty much all come to that conclusion. Like, why is no government doing anything about this? Like researching.
I was thinking about that. Everything that is a little bit, I don't know, when something can have a big impact on us, the public, then it's keeping hidden, right? So maybe they are doing a lot of tests and stuff on this, but it's just keeping hidden from us because they don't really know what it is and they haven't figured it out. And if it came out to the public, everyone would take it and it would just be chaos. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it annoys me that governments do these things in private and hide it from people. But I understand why they do that, because, I mean, it's fucking stupid. It is ego, as they would put it. But it's like, say US government is researching DMT, right? And they've come in contact with entities, and the entities are giving them information that they wouldn't have otherwise be privy to. They don't want China getting their hands on that, right? It's all futile bullshit, but that's why they're doing it. But I'm saying, if this is true, you can throw nations out the window on pretty much everything that we know, because there's real shit going on out there that we need to start plugging into at that point. But it annoys me. It makes me think about the Aztecs, right? How there's been cultures throughout history that have apparently done this, where they've been in contact with entities, like the Aztecs of South America. They used to take this, but they would come across bad entities, right? And the entities would say, like, you need to burn 1,000 humans to please me or something, and they would fucking do it. They would go and get 1,000 people and burn them on like these massive sacrificial altars, and then their so-called like entity would be pleased, and it's like, what the fuck is that? Who the hell were they talking to there? Meanwhile, you have some like the stories here, and they're nice. It's like, but there's also like the Egyptians. Like, how the hell did they make the pyramids? What if they took this and they got some information out of there? Things that, and it's another thing. We know that. We were looking at a video just a few minutes ago of Sweden, Stockholm, in like 100 years ago. And one of the comments was, isn't it crazy how much the world has changed in 100 years? And you look at it and it might as well be 1,000 years ago. Like, people were dressed so differently and acted so differently, and it was crazy compared to today. And it's like, what if things like how did someone make the first hard drive or central processing unit, like processor, graphics card, things like that? How the fuck who thought, yeah, we need to make that and put that there and do that there? Who thought that? Like, how could a human being possibly come up with that without some sort of intervention? Because ever since we've discovered technology properly, we have just gone fucking off the deep end. We've changed every year. Humanity changes. Like, 1 year today is like 1 year of human progress today. It was like 100 years a few years ago. Like, it's crazy. It feels like some things don't make sense. Like, how did the Egyptians build the pyramids? We still don't fucking know that. We couldn't do that now. We don't understand that. It's like, how the hell did,
think about those giant rocks as well.
What, Stonehenge?
Yeah,
things like that. Like, no, but just general, like, there's some things that you could give me unlimited time and unlimited resources, and I would never be able to figure that out. Like, if someone said to me, you've got unlimited money and unlimited time, but you're in like year 1, right, on the calendar, make a CPU. I'd be like, I don't know where to begin. What is that? Like, we're using a computer right now. What the fuck is going on there? What is this thing that is it? I don't know what's going on. I know how to use it, but I don't know what it is. What is it? Who made this?
I'm glad I'm not the only one that doesn't understand that. I always thought that it was obvious to other people.
No, but like, I know there's a CPU and a hard drive, and there's a backlit keyboard and a screen, and it's resolution, and it's like, I know these things, but I know given enough time, I could if you give me the parts, I could probably put something like this together. But I don't know what the Lego bricks are that I'm putting together to make the tower. What is that? Who made the brick? I mean, I know, like, you could say like, Intel, right? But who told them how to do that? When did we figure this out? Like, it just seems like something that someone wouldn't do, or doesn't make sense. I feel like this information has to come from somewhere.
It's above our intelligence point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like humans were meant to be like these monkeys without fur who wore like underwear made of leopard skins and threw rocks at each other.
Or spears,
Yeah, and meanwhile we're here, and I feel like we've done a lot better than we were meant to. Like I always say, I argued with you a few days ago. I can't remember on what it was, about aliens, I think. And you were going on about evolution, and I was saying, no, fuck evolution. Our technology helps us quicker than evolution ever would. Evolution takes thousands of years. We're making technology like in the blink of an eye. And I was thinking, like, something is interfered.
Maybe it wasn't supposed to be that way. And the alien, they're looking what we're supposed to look like. So, but we're never gonna look like that because we have technology, like you said. And that's why they want to come here and research us, because how come we could make so much progress in so little time when it took them so much time?
No, but I'm saying that, well, I don't know what you're on about, but I'm saying that the fact that we've made so much progress in such a short amount of time seems like some sort of intervention. Literally divine intervention. Like, you look at, like, what the hell was the difference between the world in 1600 and 1700? Like, there's 100 years there. What happened? Pretty much nothing. Right? What about year 2500 BC and year 1500 BC? Like, what was the difference? Pretty much fuck all. Look at the difference between the year 2000 and 2020. It's like worlds apart. Like, everything is completely different. God, what about 1900 and 2000? What the fuck happened in that century? Like, something has happened there where we have just gone and we've completely changed. And whatever's interfered in us is probably going like, whoa, what the fuck? Whoa, whoa, those humans, they've really done better than I thought they would, you know?
Yeah, that makes me think about games, you know, when you buy like a character boost or something, and you just
like, so it's like we've paid to win.
You are somewhere where you're not supposed to be at that level yet,
or ever. Yeah, it's like technology has overtook our evolution. I don't know. It's like I don't know. Maybe we're just talking a bunch of bollocks, but it just seems. It feels like I know there's a piece of the puzzle missing. I just don't know where the fuck it is. I don't know where to look. And I look at DMT and I think this to me is evidence that like, we do not know what we are doing here. Like, we are totally clueless into what is really going on there, you know?
Yeah, that's a very good way of describing it, because we know so much, but it feels like there's a big part of the puzzle just missing. And if we got that puzzle, everything would make sense.
Yeah, it seems like when people take this, it just does make sense. This is another side thing, by the way. A lot of people, pretty much everyone who I've ever known who I've told this about, people who don't know it, their first thing is, yeah, I want to do this. It's like, no. You shouldn't do this. I don't think the average person should do this. And a lot of people, especially the DMT enthusiasts on this forum we asked, will probably get angry at me here. But I don't think the average person should do this, because the average person doesn't know what the fuck is going on Earth. Never mind what's going on in the higher fucking dimension. Like, I think that only the most wisest of people, everyone thinks they're wise, I guess, but the most, like, only the shamans should take this, right? Not the average Joe who needs antidepressants to stay afloat, right? No, stay away. You don't want to travel to another dimension when you can't even sort your head out on Earth. Like, I want people to take this who have some sort of government funding and are really intelligent, wise, smart, able to dictate their thoughts easily, you know, don't have mental illnesses and things like that, right? I don't think people should take this, because I think, though it sounds fun on paper, I don't think it would be. I think it would kind of like fry your brain in a way. I think it would be like a sort of like, there's nothing. Am I wrong there?
No, I see what you mean. Maybe I don't know, a single mother with 3 children with 4 different baby daddies, who is having a bunch of payday loans.
What are you going on about?
I don't know. No, I'm just thinking. Maybe everyone isn't well equipped for what they might find out. Maybe it'll completely destroy some people, because the world, as they thought they knew it, is not at all like that.
No, it's like forbidden knowledge. It's like some things. Oh, there's that quote, "Beware of knowledge you didn't earn," or something like that. And I feel like that when you take DMT, you get knowledge that you didn't earn. It's like I want to know what it is, but I don't want the average Joe on the street doing it.
No, that's probably what the governments are saying. So that's why we don't know.
Well, I think they should still publicise they are researching it.
No.
Why?
No, I mean, I would be interested in that, but I don't think they would do.
Why?
Because of the reasons you just said. Because the average Joe probably couldn't handle it.
But you're saying they're not researching it. You think?
No, I'm saying I think they do.
Oh, right. Well, okay. I was going to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, most governments are so inept they can't even keep Marxism out of their own country. So how the hell are they meant to research higher dimensions if they're that fucking stupid?
Well, that's just a picture they show, to us.
No, I don't buy the whole bullshit. Like the government has technology that's 25 years ahead of it. I don't buy that at all. I just don't get. I don't buy that. Governments are inept as fuck. Like they can barely function. Like you give a private corporation who's in it for themselves and can earn big bucks or something. Like they have, like Google and Apple technology and Microsoft technology is probably way more advanced than any US government stuff. Sure, when it comes to planes maybe, but computers, no. They don't have like 50 yottabyte hard drives or something.
I'm sure that there is some sort of government-funded group of intellectuals that research this.
Well, I hope so. But I don't think they are. I wish they did, but I don't think they are. I think they're too dumb. I think they're too busy like, oh, we need to go to Mars. We need to go to Venus so we can fucking burn it. Like,
nothing wrong with wanting to go to Mars.
No, look, nothing wrong with wanting to go to space, right? But if it comes to space or psychedelic research, I'll take psychedelic research.
But you know what I think is a little bit strange? You just spoke about how much the world has changed and technology has changed us so much in such a short amount of time. But it was so many years ago, first person on the moon, and we're still not on Mars.
Yeah, it was like 51 years ago.
Crazy with how much technology has changed, and we're still not on Mars.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I mean,
With how long it was we were on the moon.
Well, I guess I'm bitching about space exploration, but yeah, really, if you think about it, not much has really happened, I guess.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something I think is a bit strange if you think about how much technology in general has.
That is if we went to the moon.
Of course.
That's a story for another time.
I believe we do.
But anyway, bottom line is, DMT fascinates me, especially the entities. And honestly, this probably won't be the last time we talk about this because I've been talking about this forever. So I'm probably going to talk about this a lot more because it fascinates me, and I really want to get to the bottom of it. Like, I'm someone who would never take this ever. I don't take fucking cough medicine, but it will always fascinate me, and I want to know more about it. So, keep it up, psychonauts, I guess.